everyone, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today you're joining us in some chicken pen maintenance. This is our outdoor chicken run, and it has been an uncovered chicken run for years. From time to time we've had trouble with owls and hawks. We've got a hawk that likes to sit up here at the top of the barn. There's a hay trolley that runs through there, and she likes to sit down on the end, perched, waiting for the chickens to come out and waiting for her time to strike. So we've decided to revamp the chicken run. It was just some rolled up fence that had been around. I threw in some T-posts and went and got some chickens one day. It was just a real quick thing. This has probably been standing here for 10 or 11 years. So the chicks have been here for about 10 or 11 weeks, and they haven't been outdoors yet. They are fully feathered. They're off the heat lamp. Unless it gets very cold. It was 60 the other night we turned it on. They're mature enough, fully started. Not started laying, but they're halfway there. To reduce some of the feed, we've been going through a 40 to 50 pound bag of feed in about 4 days, sometimes 3, and giving them a little bit of chicken scraps. So if they have access to outdoor grass and bugs, that will help them a lot. We've tried free range in the past, but honestly, on a farm, it's not very practical. In the last 2 weeks, we've got accumulated about 10 possums and raccoons overnight. So to keep the predators down in this area, we ran the push mower, reducing their ability to have hiding and creeping spaces. So we're going to use this 2x4 rolled fencing as a roof on the chicken run, and we're going to change the current layout to be able to suit that. So what are we going to do? 12 wide?
Yeah, this is 80 feet, so we can get like 27 by 12 3 times out of it. So it'll be the width of that part of that old silo room down to about the spark square. Instead, we'll just discontinue the skinny spot.
Yeah.
And then we'll have extra of this for more tree planting. We'll end up with a lot more of this then. And then we're just going to take re-rod. We have lots of surplus re-rod. We'll go across and tie it to these. And that'll give something to tie the roof pieces to and hold it. It's just hawks and owls basically, right?
Yeah.
Is what we're...
Just daytime protection. They'll still go in at night and get locked up. We have to keep this doorway open. That is our feed grinding room. So if we need to take a feed wagon, a gravity wagon in there, then we can still have access to that, or to park a tractor inside. And like I said, this pen was just slapped up quick like this. It's just a big triangle. This used to be our lane, and we rerouted that because it didn't really serve its function going through the middle of the barnyard for us. So this fence line just follows that former lane because this was parked here full of grain at the time and there wasn't a reason to move it. So in our area, we have been without rain for several weeks. So if this was right out in the open sun, these posts here might not want to pull out, and they're straight. We're not going to concern ourselves with that. This trailer has given it a little shade, so he is able to get them to budge. But to pull a T-post, you need a T-post puller. And that's what this is. It's basically like a jack. This grabs a hold of it, and you can see it's so hard pulling these out that it's actually bending the T-post puller. And it's probably been previously bent. We've got a couple out. We just got one more left. And then we have some electric fence posts that we staked in there because it was a bit of a gap when I first put in the T-posts. Adding a little extra support. I think maybe I was running short and just kind of did every other. Too long ago to remember. But it's good to have him here to do this. I've been putting it off for years, and we've not had chickens for a couple of years because of this. Because it's too devastating to come out and find out that your chickens have all been killed from predators coming in, either aerial or during the night. Now we decided to go with 12 feet for a couple of reasons. That gets us to the end of the building, and there used to be a silo here before this room was added on. I don't really know all about it, but there's concrete slabs coming out, and to not have to rent a concrete saw and cut that out or bust out any of the concrete that's left, we're just working around that. It actually makes a dry, cool spot once this grass is kind of gone down. After the last chickens were gone, my son and I came out here with a cultivator and we threw some hayseed down here to get this to stop some of the weeds that were growing in here so bad. The chickens will come in here, they're going to pack this down, and it's going to be back to dirt in no time. So you can see just from the fence line, I've pulled it out to here. We've got cleanup work to do, but it's really woven in here. The ground is dry, and it's hard to use the T-post driver to get these in. We don't have any other way. You can get a tool for like a skid steer, a tractor to drive in your T-post. We do everything by hand here. These T-post drivers are like $30. I've got videos in the playlist for farming and homesteading on the use of these. You see, we always use ear protection when we're doing it. So he got all but one of the T-posts out, and the T-post puller snapped. So any farm store, Harbor Freight, they carry these T-posts, and you could see it was bending. I remember trying to pull some out in a clay area where we have some fruit trees, and the bending of that was weakening the weld here, so he'll have to straighten that out, maybe put a reinforcement in here. It's been on our farm for a lot of years, and it's not going to be a warranty item, but again, these, you know, roughly $30. It's not a huge deal. He's a welder. You know, with farming you do lots of things, and I actually bent the base of this years ago, so it can give him an opportunity to put a reinforcing plate on the bottom of that, because it's not heavy square steel tubing. You could even make one of these pretty easily. So if you heard that, that was the sound of the backhoe coming. We've cut our sections for our roofing and leaned them against the farm barn. He's going to use a chain and the backhoe bucket to pull out the remaining fence posts. We've got 2 on here that we're removing because we're only going down 12 feet. And he's just lining up the new T-posts here with this T-post, because we're going to tie in re-rod, which is also called rebar, for concrete work to the next T-post over to help support that roof line. The trick about pulling these out is being able to pull them up, and he wraps this chain around it several times. I've already gone through and released all the metal tabs or wires on these couple of posts that he's pulling, but you still want to be careful of them trying to catch like it just was. So you see, it wouldn't work to pull them out with like a pickup truck, because it's going to just bend it and possibly just pull that chain tight and send everything going flying, and then you see videos of fails of people who've lost like their back window. Safety first. I had to remind him that years ago I went through and put rocks all along the edge of the fence just because of gaps. Kittens, barn cats, always trying to get in. You're still, you know, daytime crawling predators, just not so much. If you could keep them out of this pen, then that's one less area of defense that you have to be concerned about with the getting in. So, you know, again, not bulletproof. I'm not trying to tell you how to do it 100%. I think unless you built something straight up with heavy hardware cloth in a box made of steel, they're gonna find some way to try to get in, whether it's nocturnal predators or daytime things. And these little barn kittens, they get pretty curious. So a lot of times the rocks is filling a gap to keep the small chickens in, more or less. Use your best judgment in your design. This is just what's working for us. Now remember, when you're using a post driver like that, keep your head back, use ear protection, and a lot of the post is going down into the ground. So you want to get tall ones. We're using just anything we have on hand at this point. So we're attaching our fencing to the T-post, and these are just the little standard clips. They give you those for free when you buy your fencing at the store. Otherwise, you can buy them by the bag. They're cheap and real easy. Or you could just take some wire and make that yourself. It's just that it's pre-shaped to shape around this T-post for you. On the ends, he did 5. That's going to be the end. On all the others, we've just got 2, one at the top, one at the bottom. We might put a couple more on this corner just because we're going to wrap it. It never fails for us, and especially on a farm, is you start one job and it leads to another. This trailer's been parked here for years. It had originally, I think, oats in it. So it's actually his father's trailer, and he's told us to just go ahead and get rid of it. Well, it's had that tarp on it that you saw in one of the last shots, and I could pick it up with my eye real easy. You start seeing the stuff in the background real quick. So we pulled it off and pulled it over there. I've got a couple hornet's nests I'm dealing with right now. But you can see the raccoons have been around here, and they've been kind of using it as a hiding spot and a shelter. There's more raccoon scat down there. So I'm cleaning up all the broken rubber ties I can find and then digging out the rocks so that we can go through. I'll have to go back where the rocks were and bring a couple buckets of dirt from the garden over, just so that someone doesn't step in it and twist their ankle, because that's right up my alley for the things that I do. So we've got a nice rectangle fence, and if that's all we were after, we would be done. I'll tell you, it's probably 6 o'clock. We've worked on this for most of the day. I figured it'd be a couple-hour job. So this is re-rod, or some people call it rebar. And you can see he's just wiring it on the top of the fencing. It got us several more inches versus just setting it like on top of the fence post, and something a little more secure to actually wire it to. So he's got one there at the building. We're going across just like that, but we're rolling out our roll this way, lengthwise. So that's just going to kind of help support it. Now, if later on we decide it's too heavy, we can prop up each rebar with a treated board or another piece of re-rod. So we worked on this beyond too late in the day to let the chickens out last night. So they are going to have their first run out. So you can see he tied the re-rod onto the fence. This is a pretty good start to a shelter. This isn't something that we're planning on is going to be for forever. It would be really nice to do this with a wood framework. However, we were using what we had on hand. If I wanted to later on, I have some shade cloth that I got for different purposes. You can use it to shade the side of a fence. It'll give you a little bit of privacy. You can use it as a roof. You see people having sailcloths. It's the same basic material, and it's not long-term, so we went with the fencing on top, and then if I want shade, then we'll add that later. So little girls, they're all about 11 weeks old now, maybe 12. They were a couple weeks old already at the farm store when we bought them. And if you look back in the videos, these were my 50-cent birds. All Isa Brown egg layers. They don't want to come out. They're like, what is going on? He just went in the coop on the inside. So this is real good access for us. The only, so this is real good access for us to be able to go through the coop door and to out here. We had thought about putting a gate or opening right here that we may adjust later, but the way this door swings out, we just decided to wrap the fence at the end and leave it. And the little kids, who are 5 feet tall, can shoo them in at night if they're lingering at all. Oh, one or two come out, one turns around. There you go. The others are like, get out of my way. What is all this? They're gonna have a heyday. They'll get to explore. It's gonna rain later on this afternoon, so they'll be able to peck at the ground and see about the grass and the bugs. Come on, little girls. Okay, they're lined up waiting to go out. What's going on? They're being real slow to come out. We had to walk around in a circle a little bit to encourage them. They're chirping about it a little bit, but they're still being real slow. This is maybe half of them.
Hello.
George is happy that they're out. Now they make some special brackets. I've had them before from Tractor Supply, so that you can attach it to a top of a T-post to be able to connect a 2x4 or any other kind of lumber on the top. But I think they're about $5 per T-post to do that. So, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, that's 40 bucks. We got one on the end. We're attached to the building with the heavy-duty fencing staples. That worked out really good. So if we ever do want to add lumber to the top, we can do it pretty easily. This is all wired in 3 4-foot sections in a row. So hopefully this will go really well. The little chicks are coming out real slowly. They're only out about 3 feet, and it's only about half of them. So you can watch the end and watch the chickies coming out, eating grass, and enjoying themselves. Thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Maybe they've all been out. Little.
Maybe.